And so the attachment and reinforcement that we talked about earlier creates this environment where confabulation takes place. So children have an identity that is formed around being aligned with the alienating parent, and so they're afraid or opposed this targeted parent. So they look for all these things that are happening around them, and then just twist them. So, for instance, the tone of someone's voice when they're being corrected, um, they were yelling versus they were just talking sternly. Is being able to say like, well, they were actually yelling and screaming at me instead of just being told, hey, you have to be home by your curfew. And the way that they can twist something that would be just a conversation between the targeted parent and the child and actually this bombastic knockdown drag out fight is they can just quickly twist, well, he was yelling at me because I can't just have this parent that I'm supposed to be aligned against speak respectfully to me and tell me all these things that I need to do better as a child. That wouldn't work because that means he'd be a good parent. So I have to twist that and say they were yelling at me because that's how I come back and feed that loyalty contract. I don't, as an alienated child, I'm not really given an option to be able to buy in and say, actually, that was handled properly. And we'll get into some more examples later. The other example that we talk about is the emotional side of things. And so we think about an alienated child not being able to feel the love and happiness and connection to their to the targeted parent. It's not really part of that loyalty contract. And so they will misinterpret their emotions and twist their emotions because they can't acknowledge that part of themselves. Again, to like build that empathy for them. That's got to be the hardest thing in the entire world, to not be able to love a parent that you love. And so they feel that conflict. So they feel, oh, that really hurts. I want to be with this person, but I'm not allowed to be. And so what happens, because again, to go back to that encapsulated delusional system or that enmeshment, is I'm connected to that alienating parent. So I'm going to then interpret the pain that I feel of being conflicted about not being able to love this parent, and I'm gonna assign that to them as them hurting me or what they are doing as being traumatic to me. And so again, it's them having to wrestle with this conflicted nature about them, and then being able to like then place that on the targeted parent because that's what the loyalty contract requires of them. So they feel this shame and guilt for rejecting this parent, and all of a sudden, yeah, it's there. Um, so again, because they can't form that healthy attachment, everything that goes well will challenge this encapsulated delusional system. So they just aren't allowed to have those positive feelings. So the only thing left is to be able to blame that targeted parent. So again, just to circle back to what we were talking about, encapsulated delusional system means this system that is being created by this enmeshment dynamic, which is this parent and this child not having any boundaries and having an insecure attachment, means that the child is tasked with filling that narrative and filling that and getting reinforced. Because what happens is they feel all this incongruence, they feel all this conflict, they feel all this emotion while they're with the alienating parent, or sorry, the targeted parent. And then they go back to the alienating parent and they're able to, again, talk about the narrative that this alienating parent wants to hear. They give them the lowdown, they give them the debrief, and then everything becomes congruent again because they get reinforced, they get love, they get affection, and then they feel good again. And so you repeat that time after time after time, and then it just gets deeper and deeper and deeper.